Hello everybody! Welcome to another Eternal Deck Tech. And this week I have an interesting list for you. This is Big Rakano Armory. So we're looking at a deck that is trying to get a whole lot of armor to smash through with a Molten Fist. That's kind of the main theme of this deck. And we've got a bunch of different ways to do it. So there's a lot of different ways to gain armor. There's Throne Wardens, pretty obvious. Summon, you gain 4 armor. It's always been a staple of any armory list, any list that relies on a lot of weapons. So we've got the Throne Wardens. We also have something that you probably haven't seen in a long time, unless you've played a lot of Armory, and that's Armorsmith. So this is a 4 power card that becomes free when you already have 2 armor. And when it comes into play, it also gives you 2 more armor. So you can summon it and it gives you extra armor. And you'll have Rolant's favors. It even has Rolant's favors to continually try and up that 2 armor. Nice little combo with our Armorsmith, because you can play Rolant's favor, get yourself a Justice Sigil, and play an Armorsmith for free. So you gain 4 armor and get a Justice Sigil and a 2/2 for just 2 power, which is kind of nice. Another way, of course, for us to get extra armor is just by making the weapons better. So we're running Rakano Artisans, old school. We're trying to run those, playing a bunch of different weapons here to help out, and it gets them all a little bit bigger. Other thing that we have for early game is going to be torches, miners, muskets, and Rakano Outlaws. So Rakano Outlaw is kind of like a worse Rakano Artisan in this deck, where it's just trying to attack early to get a couple of Warcry triggers, make some of your really big late game weapons better, or if you're against a super aggressive deck, to kind of clog up the ground, trade things off. So it's not where you're normally thinking of Rakano Outlaw being, where, you know, you're going to be smashing face all the time, snowball, Warcry out of control. You can do that, but it's not entirely the way that this list is made. I mean, we don't have Oni Ronins. We're not really trying to do that kind of thing. And, you know, we can maybe get a Rakano Artisan into, or Rakano Outlaw, sorry, into a Sword of Icaria and roll over somebody. But it's not going to happen all that often. This is a little bit more of a control list. Now, on top of that, you might notice another 2-drop in here that's a little bit weird, and that's Tax Collector. So what does Tax Collector do? Well, when another unit dies, you gain an extra armor. And then it has an ultimate, which is very important, that doubles your attack and your armor. So this is our kill condition on top of the fist. What happens is, if we get late enough in the game, we can go Molten Fist with a Tax Collector on the field, and then the next turn ultimate it and just smash face, because it deals an incredible amount of damage. So we can get some one-turn kills from that very easily. The last few things that we have are some other late-game cards. So, I mean, obviously we have the Seek Powers, you know, we have some fixing and all of those kinds of things. But we also have our late game, which is Icaria's, Rise to the Challenge, and Reforge. So Reforge is really cool in this deck. You might not have seen it before. It draws a weapon from your void, and it gets +2/+2. The reason why it's cool in this deck is because if you've never seen it before, if you're not familiar with Armory, any armor that you get while you have a weapon stays on the weapon. So, for example, if we play Molten Fist and we had 10 armor from Throne Wardens, Armorsmiths, Tax Collectors, whatever, then the Molten Fist becomes a 16/16. But importantly, when it dies, if we manage to smash it into a whole bunch of little creatures and eventually it whittles it away and then Molten Fist is gone, we can reforge it, and that 16/16 Molten Fist comes back as a 16/16, then gets the +2/+2 and becomes an 18/18 Molten Fist. And we can then add armor again and keep doing it. So you can make some really, really massive weapons by reforging them. And you can do that with Sword of Icaria too. So don't be afraid to buy back a Sword of Icaria if you need to in this list, for sure. Then finally, of course, we have the old standby, Icaria. It's just big, nasty, ends games very, very quickly. And we've got the Rise to Challenge to search for either one of those things, so either the Icaria or for the Molten Fists. The last things I guess that we should talk about a little bit is that we do have some Waystones. I didn't want to go too deep on Granite Waystone, because we don't really need the 1/1 Grenadins. it's nice to have as chump blockers for our weapons, and also then to be able to trigger Tax Collector if we happen to have it in play to gain us extra armor. Nothing super important, which is why there's only 2 of them. A lot of people will ask me, well, why not put 4? They don't come into play depleted. True, but they do make Seed of Glory come into play depleted, and that's pretty important. So it's nice to have as many sigils as we can reasonably fit in the deck. The other important card is Emerald Waystone here, which is very nice, because getting that little bit of extra armor can definitely put you over the top. So that's our list. It might look like a little bit aggressive, like I said, where we've got the Rakano Outlaws, we've got the Sword of Icarias, but it's a little bit more of a control or mid-range list. It goes a fair bit slower. You're just trying to build incremental value early in the game and trade things off, and then eventually, smash them to death with a giant Molten Fist or an Icaria or something. So you're really not trying to run them out with just Rakano Outlaws, go wide, smash face that way. You've got to spend some time, be a little bit patient. Don't be afraid to trade off your Rakano Outlaws, even on the defense, as long as the trade is good for you, obviously. And, make your way towards the game plan of getting late game Molten Fist and smashing them. Alright, so that's our deck, and let's see some games.